Well, I'm delighted to be now joined by our mayoral candidate for Greater Manchester, Nick Buckley, MBE. Nick, fantastic to have you as our candidate for this, vital city and region of Greater Manchester. Great to have you on board. Tell us a bit about your background and why I think that you're the right person to be the next mayor of Manchester and how you can make a real difference.
Well, to start with, obviously, I'm Manchester born and bred. I always lived in Greater Manchester, worked in Greater Manchester, schooled here, family here. But I've spent the last 2 decades looking at how we improve Greater Manchester. So part of that was working for local council for a decade, reducing crime, reducing antisocial behaviour. And then I was made redundant, and I took that money and I set a charity up to work across Greater Manchester to help deprived young people working on the streets, stop them getting involved in crime, stop them being groomed. And then I set a project up helping the homeless off the streets in the city centre, getting them accommodation, getting them jobs. And I've done this work all over the 10 boroughs of Greater Manchester.
And that's fantastic. And, in terms of sort of the mood now in Manchester, as we come towards hopefully the end of lockdown, what's the mood, what's the feeling, how anxious are people and what's going to be the impact of that on antisocial behaviour and criminal behaviour, do you think?
People in Manchester want a higher quality of life, and that's true across the whole country. We've got a city mayor now, obviously, that's why I'm standing. So let that position do something important in Greater Manchester. Let's raise up the people that live here instead of always looking at London, instead of always looking what we can get from London and Westminster and pretending we're London. We're not London. We're the north of England. We're Manchester. Let's do something different here and let's improve the quality of life.
Fantastic. And the current mayor, Andy Burnham, he's tried, but clearly he's failed. He's just lost his chief constable. What's happened there? Why? And how do we make policing and preventing crime much better?
It's for people of Greater Manchester to judge Andy Burnham. I'm sure he's done his best. I've met him several times. He's a nice bloke. Other people can judge his record. But the police in Greater Manchester are now in special measures. The government inspected Greater Manchester Police and deemed they were inadequate, that they were hiding 80,000 crimes. 1 in 4 violent crimes were never recorded and never investigated. It's not acceptable. If we can't walk the streets in Greater Manchester and feel safe, then what's the point of any politician in the whole of the country, regardless of Greater Manchester? Let's get our police force back on track, policing the streets instead of trying to police our tweets.
Yeah, and I think it's only the second police force in the whole of the UK that's actually been put into special measures, which is an extraordinary failing indictment under Andy Burnham. Who is ultimately, he's responsible for keeping the people of Manchester safe. He's responsible for keeping the streets safe, and he's clearly failed. What's the next steps? What would you do to create confidence in the police force, to motivate the police force? If you took over as mayor in May.
Well, in my old job, I used to be based in police stations, so I fully understand the police. I understand how to tackle crime, how to tackle antisocial behaviour, how to look at the long term and prevent crime. There's no point just solving it today if we're allowing more crime tomorrow. I've designed projects to train police officers. The police officers in Greater Manchester are fantastic. I have no criticism of them at all. It's the leadership.
Yeah.
And we need the general public, we need people who live in the areas dictating what they want the police to crack down on. They fund the police with their taxes. We don't have a police force, we have a police service, and we need to develop a better understanding of customer service in the police, so we're dealing with the issues that residents tell us are the most important to deal with. That's how we'll build up more trust in the community, and they then can help us tackle crime as well.
Fantastic. Well, that's what we want. We need trust, we need confidence in our police force. They do a difficult job under difficult circumstances. But ultimately, the people need to know that the police are going to, exactly as you say, going to prevent crime and catch criminals. Nick, thank you very much for sharing those thoughts with us. Really looking forward to working with you through the campaign over the coming weeks and months. And thank you for that. And if you want to find out any more about Reform UK, how we can make a difference, how we can change politics for good, then go to our website, reformparty.uk.